Hey guys, this is Corey with Colorado Cold Bloods, coming at you with another video, kind of a mid-breeding season here. Obviously, we don't have the clutch updates and everything coming for you at the moment because we're still in the midst of lockups and everything like that. So I wanted to get you some content. Obviously, we've been a little quiet recently. So here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of how we set up our incubation tubs. I've had some recent questions on how we do it and what to kind of expect. I follow a very highly scientific method of the KISS method. So I do it to keep it simple, stupid, because if I don't, I'm going to mess it up. So that being said, I'll set up a couple incubation tubs real quickly for you and kind of tell you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and that kind of thing. So I don't follow the approach of, a specific ratio of 50-50 or 60-40, 70-30 from water to substrate method. You can do this method with no substrate at all. The reason that I use substrate is just simply because I don't like it sloshing around and splashing or anything like that when I have to move the egg tubs around. So anyway, basically what I do is I do a mixture. I do a mixture of vermiculite and perlite. I just kind of do a base layer at the bottom and cover it up with some perlite. As you can see, this stuff is extremely dusty. So usually I suggest kind of having a mask or something like that while you're setting them up, just so you're not inhaling all this stuff. It was a little light on that first layer of the vermiculite, so I'm just going to do that. And then all I do is kind of mix it up here. So again, watch all that dust. If you can kind of see it coming off of there, you don't want to breathe that stuff in. It'll give you a coughing fit for a while. So I do a very light layer. It's probably about, I'd say maybe 1.5 inches deep in there. Nothing super crazy. But what I'm doing here is literally it's just a layer to kind of hold that moisture in and prevent it from sloshing around. See, as I can tell you, it'll make you cough if you're not wearing a mask. I should be while I'm doing this, but I want you guys to be able to hear me. So anyway, from there, usually if I'm putting it into a live incubator that has other eggs in there, like I do right now, usually I'm going to kind of temp gun the water, make sure it's around the temp or like 1 degree higher than what the incubator is. So that way I'm not setting the incubator's temperature off too much, as it sucks up some of the heat to kind of bring this one up to temp. So that way it helps keep it a little more consistent as I'm moving egg bins in and out. But the reason I'm doing this right now is, do I have girls that are going to lay this week? No, I don't. But I do this ahead of time in preparation for as girls are going to lay eggs, the tub's already to temp, the tub's already ready, moisture's there, we're ready to rock and roll. So the limiting the time from when the mother lays the eggs to when she actually, or when the eggs get in the incubator, we're limiting the time that they're not at temperature where they should be incubating at. So as far as the water, basically I've got a little Witch sandwich cup. It's again, highly scientific method. So I basically just take around one of these cups, maybe a little less sometimes, but basically just enough to kind of make sure there's a lot of water in there. Slosh it around, kind of mix it up, get my hands nice and gross and dirty. It's great. And as you can see, I can sit here and squeeze it and I'll have lots of water coming out of there, so it's not that 50-50 ratio by any means that everybody suggests. But basically, all I'm really doing is keeping this so that way as I move the tub around, I'm not getting all of that lovely sloshing of the water and splashing the eggs and all that fun stuff. So basically that's what I'm kind of going after. Then from there, all I do, take my Easy Hatch tray, slap it on top, push it down. Now one key thing you're going to notice on this is that will stay down once the weight of the eggs are on there. But one of the key things that you're going to notice as far as this method is my eggs are never touching the wet substrate. And that's what I mean by the keep it simple, stupid method. I don't want it to be sitting here and soaking up all the water that I've put in. I put too much water in intentionally, so that way throughout the incubation time, it's always got water. I don't have to sit here and add and guess and everything like that. But because it's not sitting in there, it's not going to drown the eggs. So that's one of the key components that I'm doing. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of change in the scenery here, but it's good, hopefully good explanation. The other thing that I'll end up doing is for some of my incubation tubs, I will also use our sensor push sensor. Usually I'll put that in at the beginning of incubation for some of the tubs. I'll have different tubs with those scattered about my incubator just to kind of get constant temps throughout. Some of the higher tubs, some of the lower tubs, everything like that. So I get a good variety and know what's going on. Other than that, as far as that, you know, you can kind of watch and monitor the temperatures, the humidity, everything that goes with that. Yeah. As far as the actual substrate itself, the vermiculite and the perlite, because it doesn't touch the eggs, I can just get it at any garden shop. I don't necessarily have to be super careful about whether or not it has fertilizers, things like that, with the exception of the fact that when those babies hatch, you don't want them exposed to that stuff. So keeping in mind that that will happen, the babies will touch the substrate at some point. You don't necessarily have to be super cautious about that, but ideally you want to get a substrate or a vermiculite and perlite, or perlite, whether you mix it or anything like that, getting ones without fertilizers so it's not potentially dangerous to the eggs. Again, they're sitting above the stuff, they're not touching the substrate intentionally, so they can't absorb anything, additives or things like that that are in the substrate. So anyway, that's pretty much it from here. The other thing you'll notice on my tubs here, since I can't turn that one on its side, you'll also notice, oh, I grabbed the wrong one, so I'm going to have to adjust that. But you'll see this little hole here. That's about a 1/8 inch hole. I have that on both sides of my incubation tubs. The reason I do that is for airflow. Once I do that, I then take this and I cover this with the press and seal. It keeps a majority of that moisture in because the lids to these, they don't have all that foam layering or anything like that. These are just 6-quart Sterlite tubs. These go on, they don't hold a lot of air or moisture in there. So that create the holes in the sides over here create the effect of creating airflow. And once I do that, like I said, press and seal over the top to keep most of it in, but minor airflow coming in through those holes on each of the sides. So anyway, hopefully this was informative. Like I said, got some of these guys coming up together, so we're setting up tubs, getting ready, let them all warm up and be ready for the girls. So anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And from there, the other thing is, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff you guys do. But definitely message us if you have questions or want help. So thank you very much.